Hi again, my name's Mary. I'm going to talk with you a little bit more about the sailboat metaphor. We're going to cover the last four elements of the sailboat metaphor. If you haven't watched the first video, please go back and watch the first video so that you understand what we're talking about. So element 5, we're going to start with element 5, and element 5 are the sails. Sails represent our strengths. Our strengths are going to be what catch the wind and propels us forward. Those are the things that often are our own positive traits, or things that allow us to continue to move forward. Strengths, without strengths, we would just kind of be sitting in the water, not moving. These are characteristics that often promote well-being and coping. Oh, let me go back just a second. Oftentimes our strengths I shouldn't say oftentimes, perhaps some of the times, our strengths can be used to really help us, but occasionally, especially if we hold these too tightly, they can become leaks, they can become weaknesses for us. So if somebody is, really good at paying attention to detail and getting things done really well, that might often be a strength for them. But perhaps it also becomes a weakness if they hold too tightly to that and fall into the trap of perfectionism. The next element is the weather. So earlier we talked about our weaknesses being the same as leaks in our boat, and those are really internal things that can cause us problems. The weather represents external things that can cause us problems. These are life events, and oftentimes we can't control this, just like we can't control the weather. This could be losing our job, it could be losing a family member or a friend, or it could be smaller things like a frustrating colleague at work. And sometimes there's really pleasant events in our life. So sometimes the weather is really good and it promotes great sailing. And like I said, sometimes challenging events as well. The next element are the other boats. So other boats represent the social relationships that we have with people or with social groups around us. So this could be a group of friends or one single friend. It could be our family members. It could be our work colleagues, multiple different things. You could belong to some type of club. All of these are boats that represent boats. In sailing, boats can either get in our way or they can help us, or sometimes they're just kind of there. And our social relationships are often the same. Sometimes we do have social relationships that really get in our own way, that really prevent us from going where we want to go in life. And then there's other times where we will have a relationship with someone who is supportive, or a group that's supportive and really supports us, allows us to get to where we need to get to. And the last element that we'll talk about today is our destination. So our destination really works along with some of the other elements that we've talked about before, in particular our steering wheel. So our steering wheel, if you remember, represented our values, our personal values. And we want to use our personal values to steer us in a direction. And the destination represents our goals. So perhaps our personal value is education, and the goal might be to finish our degree or to get a certificate of some sort, or maybe just to learn more about something. Reading a book can be a goal in that situation. It can be a desired end state. So perhaps you want to have a nursing degree, or maybe your goal is to be a nurse in the emergency department. So that's our desired end state. All right, and in the next video, we're going to talk about the captain. The captain is us. And so we're going to talk about ourselves and the different elements of ourselves, different elements that we can use to help us to captain our own boat. And look out for that video